and welcome to or welcome back to my channel. My name is Marin and here you will find a little beauty, a little books, and a little teaching content. So if that sounds like something you might enjoy, I would love for you to subscribe and stick around and join me in my little corner of YouTube. Today's video is going to be my February makeup basket and my next Pan That Palette update for 2024. So let's go ahead and get into it. So first, I'm going to go ahead and take you through my progress on my Tarte Buried Treasures palette, which is the palette I'm working on for my 2024 Pan That palette. So you can see how well I'm doing. I will say I have quite a few pans, which is very, very exciting. So let's go ahead and tip down and take a look. Okay, so here is the Tarte Buried Treasure palette. I'm going to go ahead and put a picture of what it looked like at the start of 2024 right here for you. And then here is what we are looking like after 1 month's use. I am super excited because as you can see, I do have 6 shades with pan, and this one and this one are quite close as well. So let me go ahead and take you through how many times I've used each shadow. So we're gonna start over here. This is the shade Skipper. I used this 5 times. Next to it is Snorkel, which I used 6 times. This one right here is Booty. I've used this one 17 times. This little one here is Coconut, which I've used 5 times. And this one here is Plank, which I've used 23 times. Now I'm trying really hard to get this one panned pretty quickly because I have another shade very similar to this in my Project Pan that I won't be able to start using until this one's gone. So I'm hoping that a couple more months we'll have this one finished. I might even need to repress this at some point in February, but we'll just have to see how it goes. Okay, coming back over here, this is the shade Dive. I used this one 12 times. This one here is Fin, which I used 3 times. This one here is Palm. I used this one 7 times. Back over here is Naughty, which I used 2 times. And then this one right here is Coin, which I used 5 times. So I'm very pleased with the amount of progress I'm able to see just after 1 month's use. So hopefully that will continue, and I might even have an empty here maybe in February. Okay, now that update is out of the way, let's go ahead and tip down again to take a look at the items that I'm going to be focusing on in the month of February. I am also going to be deciding between 3 pink-based eyeshadow palettes because I do want to bring a little bit of pink into my makeup look in honor of Valentine's Day. So again, let's tip down and go through things. Okay, now let's go ahead and talk about the items that I'm working on in my makeup basket. Many of these are repeats because I don't have a huge collection of items. The first item is this NYX Bare With Me primer, which I use before I put on any makeup. So even though it's kind of meant to be like a refresher or setting spray, I use it solely as a primer. I follow that up with this Benefit Professional Primer on my nose because foundation does not sit well on my nose, and this has helped a bit with that. Now, for my face products, these are the 3 that I am currently working on. This is my concealer. This is from NYX. It's the same concealer I've had for many, many months now. I am also trying to finish up this ColourPop foundation. This is in the shade 45 Light W. I do like this, but it is definitely light coverage, so just keep that in mind. For the days that I want higher coverage, I use this one from Makeup Forever. This is their HD Skin Foundation. Now this is in the shade 1N06, which I thought was a good match for me, but maybe it only is in the summer. I don't really know because it's been pulling very yellow on me. So because of that, I picked up this LA Girl Pro Color Foundation Mixing Pigment, and I've been combining them together. This does a good job of neutralizing the yellow in here. Even though this is supposed to be neutral, it just pulls very yellow. It's kind of doing it right there on camera, actually. So I don't love this by itself. It's just not a good shade match. I'm gonna go like more towards the cool tones shades when I pick up a replacement. I love the foundation, just don't love the color, but it does do a good job with this mix in. I've been combining them. It kind of grays it out, really neutralizes it, makes it a lot more usable. For powders, I still have the same two powders that I've been working on. So I have the number 7 Perfect Light Translucent Pressed Powder, which you can see I did repress. My guess is maybe I have one more month's use of this. I'm just gonna have to see how it goes. And then again, this is two powders combined together, and you can see I'm getting pretty low on this. I think what I'm gonna do is replace this with the Coty Airspun powder. I've never tried that, but I know people like it quite a lot. It's fairly inexpensive, but currently this is a Wet n Wild powder and a NYX powder, which is almost done. It will probably be done this month. Now, I'm not doing any blushes in this makeup basket because I have a bunch of them that I'm working on in my project pan, but I do still have this Bare Minerals Invisible Bronze bronzer. This is in the shade Fair to Light. This is the only bronzer in my collection that works for me. I really, really like this. I have it on today. It's just very natural looking, works well with my skin tone, and I'm happy to have this. I don't know if they make this anymore, and if they don't, I'm going to be really sad when this runs out. Okay, now let's move on to eye products. So I still have the same eye primer. This is from Ulta Beauty. I could easily see myself repurchasing this because I do quite like it. I also still have this Essence Superfine Brush Liner. I actually wasn't loving this as much when I first started using it because it bled a little bit, but now that I figured out how to use it, I actually quite like it. It has, as the name implies, a very fine tip on it, which I really like. So I'm happy to keep using this. It was pretty inexpensive. I could see myself repurchasing this. I also picked up this Urban Decay 24/7 Glide On Eye Pencil. This is in the shade 0. This is just a black eyeliner. I've been using this at the corner on my lower lash line, and I really like the look it gives. I used to do that all the time and then kind of stopped, but I've gotten back to that. This is a really nice, creamy eyeliner, so I really like that. Then I'm using this Caliray Come Hell or High Water mascara. This is a tubing mascara, and I don't love it. It's kind of gunky. I like the brush, but I cleaned this all out so you can't see, but it gets really gunked up around the edge and on the brush. So I have to like peel off strips of the mascara that have kind of dried, and I don't love that. It also can be kind of clumpy and messy, which for a tubing mascara is a little weird. So once I use this up, I will not be repurchasing this. I actually think I'm gonna do something from the drugstore. I haven't fully decided which one is going to be its replacement, but this is probably going to be the last month for this because it is getting a little dry. But yes, don't love this and honestly wouldn't recommend it. Now let's talk about brows. I have this brow primer from ABH. You can see it's getting pretty tiny, so I'm probably going to have to replace it at some point. I like this one a lot. I think you get your money's worth for it. I've had this for a few months now, and I just think it does nice things to help hold product in my brows. I also have this Glossier Boy Brow. This is in the shade Brown. I'm not sure if that's showing up on camera. This I don't love either. I find that the product just clumps up on the brush. I have to like really brush off the product to make sure I'm not getting a ton of it. So I don't really love this. I won't be repurchasing it, but I am glad I finally gave it a go because so many people talk about it. And then I have my current setting spray, which is this one from One Star. It's the On Till Dawn Mattifying Waterproof Setting Spray. This does not do much of anything for me. I don't know what it is, but I feel like I still look oily, greasy, whatever, even with this. So not my favorite. Again, this is one of those products people kept talking about, so I'm glad I gave it a go, but I won't be repurchasing. Okay, so now let's talk about the 3 palettes that I've picked out because they're all pink based and which one I'm going to ultimately add to my makeup basket for February. So I'm going to go ahead and start with this one from Natasha Denona. This is the Retro palette. And here's what it looks like. It's pink, but it's kind of also more mauve-y, maybe purpley, not really sure. But I wanted to pick it out because there are some nice pink shades. I like the shimmers in here. So this is option number 1. Option number 2 is the Naked Cherry from Urban Decay. Obviously this one is pink tone, that's its whole thing, so I definitely could use this. I haven't used this in a while, so this might be nice to put into the rotation just to give it a little bit more love. It does have these darker browns, which I probably wouldn't use. I would just be kind of focusing on these 3 shades right here, because again, I am still trying to get pan and finish up some of those shades in my Pan That palette. And these do have some more neutral tones in here, but this is option number 2. And then option number 3 is this new nude palette from Huda Beauty. This is one of my newer palettes. I got this for Christmas a couple, was it last year, I think? And this is definitely pink toned. So what I'm gonna do, I think, is I'm gonna swatch these pink shades in all of them and kind of take a look and make a decision on which one I want to put in this month's makeup basket. Okay, so I swatched like the 4 pinkish shades from this one right here. So I swatched this one, and then these 2 right here. I didn't do the shimmers because there's really nothing comparable to the shimmers in here. They definitely are like the winner, but that kind of gave me a good idea of what the pinks in there would do. So now I'm gonna do the other pinks and kind of base it solely on like the matte pinks. Okay, so these 3 are from Naked Cherry. I did this one here, Juicy, then Bing and Devilish. And looking at this, this actually is more peachy, not pinky. So they are definitely very, very comparable. But I think the Huda Beauty one is kind of winning just because this is more brownish. The only pink shade really in here that's matte is Bing, which is interesting. There are some shimmers in here, like this one here and this one down here. But if we're looking solely at mattes, the Huda Beauty one is winning so far. Okay, so now I'm gonna do the Natasha Denona Retro and see where this one falls. Okay, so these 4 down here are from the Natasha Denona one. I swatched Groove, Rebellion, Go-Go, and Andy. And again, some of it, like this one right here, is a bit more peach toned. So it's definitely between these 2 right here. They're definitely comparable. I really like this shade right here though. This was Rebellion. I don't think I've even used that shade. I quite like that one. So looking at these, I do think the Huda Beauty one is more pink. Okay, so I'm kind of just setting them now up against the Tarte palette just to kind of see which one I think might work the best. So this is the Retro palette. This one is Naked Cherry. And this one is Huda Beauty. And looking at it, I definitely think this one kind of matches the best. So this is the one that I'm gonna go ahead and go with for February and get a little bit of pink in there for Valentine's Day. Obviously there is like a pinkish shade right here in the Tarte palette, which is kind of comparable to probably maybe this one here. Yeah, very similar, just a little bit more shimmer in the Huda Beauty one. Obviously this one has kind of the same tones, but this is more of a satin finish and that one is matte. So I definitely think looking at that this is kind of the best match based on just those colors right here. So this is the one I'm going to go ahead and add in to my February makeup basket. And that's it. That is my February makeup basket and Pan That palette update. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, please leave me a thumbs up. Consider subscribing to my channel if you would like to see more from me. And I will see you in my next video. Bye everyone.